The second insight that I gained, I'm serving them but not myself. How much time is worth to me? I was addicted to Messenger. Well, it's been painful. Now I found the way to do all that. Hi everyone! In the previous video I mentioned the first and the main time management insight that I've gained over the last 33 years of my life. But after this realization, I couldn't stop there. Being obsessive with my personal productivity, I felt like there was so much I could learn and master more about time management. So, being a productivity monster, I couldn't help myself but to dive deeper into the time management skills topic and pin it down to a science. The second insight that I gained was that I live according to somebody else's time management and not for my own. I am serving them but not myself. For example, messengers. I receive a question and I immediately respond to them as if I was a customer support specialist working in a contact center. Whenever friends or colleagues message me, a notification pops up and my attention is sucked into a conversation. Usually it's an immediate necessity. I feel pressured to respond immediately, although there is no fundamental reason for it. Someone is like, check it out and sending me a 5-minute video, or my mom just sent me 68 pictures like in 1 minute, or hey, take a look at this article. And I feel that others might not perceive it well if I don't respond to them immediately. But being so available to everybody else around doesn't benefit you. And at the end of the day, nobody needs your attention as much as you do. So it's better to take control over it. Or another example. I have to cook in the evening because ordering food is expensive. But then I end up spending 1 or 2 hours per day on groceries, planning and organizing the meals, plus cooking, plus cleaning the kitchen. And how much time do I spend in the end? How much time is worth to me? In the end, I was paying the difference not with money, but with my own time. So I had a question. Do I really save something here? Do I really enjoy cooking every day, 3 times per day? Personally, I don't. And I think my time is worth more than extra couple of dollars to pay for delivery of ready-made meals. So all of these examples show a relation between time and money, but it doesn't mean it's all about money. I'm referring to the time as a valuable asset that you have right now, and you need to be in charge of it. It needs to serve your own benefit. And in fact, time is the only asset. We can't make more of it in our lives because it's simply limited. But let us get back to my calculations. I decided I'm going to calculate how much time I spent on all of these things together. So I added it all up, and these routine activities, as I call them, ended up accounting to 1/3 of my life. Can you imagine? Wait a second, I have 1/3 for my sleep, I have 1/3 for these routine activities, and practically the last third is spent mainly on the work activities, so I don't have any time for myself? That's not fair. At this point, I decided I'm going to start a new life. Little by little, slowly, step by step, I'm going to take control over it for 100%. And I started with messengers. And by the way, just as a remark, I should have started with something way simpler than messengers. Like, for example, I could have started with the time that I waste lying in the bed, for example, or watching YouTube. Messengers turned out to be the most difficult thing to get away from. But anyway, I chose messengers as my first time management attack. And by the way, the funny thing about messengers is that they go into your time unnoticed, like invisible to your consciousness, because a message here and there, like no big deal, and then you look at your smartphone screen report and you just wasted 3 hours on it of a single day. Just unbelievable. So I decided I would write down a note every time I used a messenger app. Then I counted and I was amazed, because practically I did it every 15 minutes of my day or even more often. Because somebody messages you and you have an idea and you message them back, and it's an infinite discussion, infinite process that's going on, and it never stops. I was addicted to messengers. I got super angry. I wanted to flash my phone down the toilet. Yeah. But I'm just going to stop it. So now I have a to-do list, and the to-do list I have responding to messages as a separate task. And I told myself I would not get distracted, and I'm going to check messengers only when I finish a current task that I'm doing, like a current activity. And only then I could check a messenger. In this way, I could actually focus one thing at a time, at least for 15-minute intervals. Oh gosh, that worked so brilliantly. I couldn't believe it. That simple thing just got the ball rolling. The whole principle of doing what you want and not what others want changed my entire mindset. But it was a painful experience. I'll tell you why. It wasn't easy at all. Like, at times I found myself in a doghouse for doing that because, for example, my girlfriend would message me and say, "Hi dear, I love you," but I would be in the middle of a very important activity and I cannot respond to her. Or my mom would call me, and if I don't respond, she's going to message me immediately how I'm doing and like, is everything okay with me? Why don't you respond? And I wouldn't get back to her until I finish a certain activity that I have to do now. So it was so hard not to respond to them. It was like an obligation or like a natural reflex, and sometimes even rude not to respond. But I had to do that. And as a result of stopping my instant messaging, I have lost relationships with many of my friends and colleagues because I simply didn't have enough time to properly communicate with them. Well, it's been painful even until now. It's quite hard, and I wouldn't advise others to do that. But on the flip side, my closest relationships did not disappear, but instead they flourished. Because they strengthened, because now I was able to treat every interaction with close friends as a dedicated activity on its own. And I talked to them with 100% attention and intention. For example, instead of spreading my attention thin by dividing, let's say, between 100 people, I focused my time on 10. And instead of distributing my relationships across like multiple chaotic interactions throughout the day, like with the messages back and forth, I made it a dedicated time slots for undivided conversations with them. As a result, the relationships became deeper and I felt like more fulfilled with fewer relationships. But the good thing is, it's not only about the sacrifice that you have to make in order to improve your time management habits. I also discovered fun on a whole new level. Let me tell you a story, how I spend my weekend. Like, the thing about this messenger, so because I stopped messengers, I could focus more on the work during the work days. So then I was able to accomplish more with my work. So I didn't have to spend a lot of time on the weekends to do my work. And I was able to accomplish more with my work. And then I learned how to put down the phone to stop work activities during the weekends as a result. And I didn't feel guilty anymore for prioritizing myself. At this point, I released at least 5 extra hours on weekends that now I could spend on myself, on the things I didn't have time for, like walking in nature or meditating or listening to great music or reading a favorite novel, whatever makes me happy and also makes additional value for me. It just kept energizing me as an endless loop, as opposed to messages that got me irritated all the time. I found a new way to socialize with friends also. Instead of sitting on a phone with them, we could go to an event and meet all together and spend a really great time. And the actual time is always equal, because it's the same, like 1 minute that you spend on a phone. It's exactly the same 1 minute that you spend in a warm atmosphere of a social event with all of your friends. But tell me, which one is better, right? So all of these changes sound like a logical and basic thing to do, right? But it's easier said than done. I wouldn't be able to do it on my own. The mobile social apps are so addicting nowadays. I had to use an external help. And by external help, I mean technology. Executing these life changes took me a serious internal reflection that for me meant closely tracking my time usage with the help of a timer and a spreadsheet. And I remembered all the minutes I equal, so I had to track which minutes I misused and replace them with things that produce more for me, because the ultimate goal for me was to enjoy the most minutes of my life. And I mean in a broad sense, to fill them up with meaning and consciousness. When I work, I get most out of work, and when I have fun, I get most out of the fun, and when I sleep, I get most out of it. And now I found the way to do all that. I solved this problem for myself, and at this point I wanted to share it with everyone around me. This is why I started the YouTube channel. At this point, as a tech entrepreneur, I went a step further. So I decided I'm going to create an app for the time management, and I did it. It's called the Time Tree. Write me a message. It's in a private beta. It's free. I'm conducting a time study experiment, and everybody is welcome to participate in it as long as you write me a message. Left my contacts in the details below. I am new to YouTube, so I would highly appreciate your feedback in the comments below. Thank you very much for your attention. Click the like button and please subscribe. Have a good day. Bye bye.